The pathological covert narcissist is essentially someone who dies in childhood and has their psyche replaced by a loose coalition of three operating systems: a superego, a predator, and a victim. The narcissist level of fear determines which remnant of their fragmented self takes over. Similar to emotionally healthy people, the narcissist superego serves as their self-focused, subjective moral authority. The difference being this moral authority gets taken to an extreme. Hypercritical and sadistic, the superego ruthlessly berates the narcissist with incessant judgments, telling them they are not good enough, that they're disgusting, unlovable, that people are secretly laughing at them. It's a nonstop barrage of shame-inducing negative thoughts. The predator is responsible for meeting the narcissist's needs out in the real world, both conventional needs and obtaining narcissistic supply. Because of its raging sense of entitlement, the predator is responsible for the exploitation of others and their subsequent discard once deemed no longer useful. The predator constantly scans people to determine whether the narcissist is superior to them, what the narcissist can get out of them, and for any perceived weaknesses or idiosyncrasies that can be utilized to shame that person for a hit of narcissistic supply. The predator sees itself as the supreme arbiter of the universe and the genesis of all time and space. This is why narcissists have no innate sense of boundaries, because they perceive everything and everyone as an extension of themselves. Unlike the superego, the predator does make contact with the outside world, but only when it believes its emergence won't risk reputational damage. Therefore, it's reserved exclusively for primary and secondary supply sources, or any supply source the narcissist deems naive or has little chance of escape. The victim considers itself to be the narcissist's panacea, and for good reason. Its responsibilities are manifold and complex, the most vital of which being the narcissist's sole defense against the ruthless superego. Narcissists must avoid accountability at all costs, because accountability leads to overwhelming shame and confirmation of all the terrible things the superego tells them. So to keep shame at bay, the victim pleads with the superego that the narcissist is not at fault for their station in life, that if only people weren't so envious of the narcissist and constantly sabotaging them, if only the world would finally recognize and appreciate their brilliance, that if only people weren't too stupid and naive to see that the narcissist is the next phase in human evolution, only then could the narcissist finally live up to the superego's impossible goals and standards. While the victim's war with the superego remains a hidden internal struggle, all other victimhood functions are ostentatiously promulgated to the external world. Any unwanted exposure of the predator, or any hint or trace of accountability, will automatically spring the victim into action. Victimhood is the narcissist's most effective means of gaslighting and coercive control. It is how they dictate the narratives and perceptions of themselves and their targets. Narcissists are all about maximizing control while limiting vulnerability, and manipulation through victimhood is their safest method for deflecting accountability. Through exploitation of emotions and morals, the victim subtly pressures others into behaving the way the narcissist wants them to. Victimhood allows narcs to take people's anger over their actions and transmute it into guilt. This not only diverts attention away from their wrongdoings, it also makes those around the narcissist feel indebted and obligated, thus much more willing to do the narc's bidding. Narcissists are also well aware that victimhood is great for their public persona. Perceived vulnerability makes someone appear more honest, and emotionally healthy people rarely hate or judge something they consider vulnerable or helpless. This is why most covert narcissists feign meekness, illness, and disability. Some even intentionally act much less intelligent and perceptive than they truly are. These tactics not only make people less guarded, they also trigger protective instincts and feelings of obligation and loyalty for the narcissist. As the narcissist steadily gains sympathy, attention, and support, the predator's targets appear problematic by default. By recruiting others against the target, the narcissist not only further deflects accountability, they also hope to obtain narcissistic supply from making their target feel guilty, ostracized, and punished. Society is much less likely to hold perceived victims to high standards of responsibility. Therefore, the narcissist wants people to believe that they are self-sacrificing, misunderstood, mistreated, oppressed, and continuously preyed upon by both their targets and by circumstance. That way, if the predator ever gets caught acting out, the narc can justify the bad behavior as a reaction to mistreatment. Victimhood legitimizes the narcissist's indignation in the eyes of others. Victimhood gives narcissists the moral high ground.